Picture this. A typical Friday night in the suburban sprawl of Los Angeles, circa the late 1990s. A group of 15-year-old boys, fueled by the boundless energy of adolescence, sprawl across a living room floor, remote control in hand, channel surfing through the vast wasteland of late-night television. Laughter bounces off the walls as they dodge commercials and land on forgotten sitcoms, their quest for entertainment as aimless as it is enthusiastic. But then, in an instant that freezes time, the screen flickers to life with a scene from the 1980 cinematic gem Melvin and Howard, a film that snagged an Academy Award and etched itself into Hollywood lore. There, in all her vulnerable glory, appears Mary Steenburgen, the actress whose luminous presence has graced screens for decades, bearing not just her body but her soul in a raw portrayal of a bar dancer navigating life's unpredictable twists. Enter Charlie McDowell, Mary Steenburgen's then teenage son, fresh from the kitchen with a hastily assembled sandwich in hand, oblivious to the domestic drama unfolding in the next room. At 15, Charlie was already showing glimmers of the thoughtful, introspective filmmaker he would become. A director and screenwriter whose works like The Discovery and Windfall would later explore the depths of human connection and consequence. But on this night, he was just a kid, caught in the crosshairs of an embarrassingly intimate family legacy. Bursting back into the living room, he halts dead in his tracks, eyes widening in horror as he registers the unmistakable sight of his mother on screen, her form exposed in a moment of unscripted authenticity that had captivated audiences but now mortified her offspring. "That's my mom," he bellowed, his voice cracking with a mix of fury and mortification. "What are you doing?" The room fell silent, the sandwich forgotten on the coffee table as Charlie's friends stammered apologies, fumbling for the remote like it was a live grenade. This anecdote, equal parts cringeworthy and chuckle-inducing, resurfaced decades later on the podcast Where Everybody Knows Your Name, hosted by Ted Danson, Steenburgen's husband since 1995 and a fellow thespian whose Cheers fame has made him a household name. Danson, with his trademark warmth and wry humor, recounted the tale during a conversation with guest Kathryn Hahn, the actress behind WandaVision whose own foray into motherhood has armed her with an arsenal of relatable parenting war stories. Charlie and his buddies were flipping through channels on a Friday night. Danson began, painting the scene with vivid strokes that transported listeners back to that awkward epoch. The boys had innocently stumbled upon the pivotal sequence in Melvin and Howard, where Steenburgen's character, Linda Dummer, sheds her inhibitions in a bar setting, her nudity a bold statement on vulnerability amid the American dream's underbelly. It's a scene that's been lauded for its bravery, contributing to Steenburgen's Best Supporting Actress Oscar win that year, but for a teenage son, it was an unwelcome portal into parental mythology. Danson couldn't help but defend the artistry, even as he relished the discomfort. "The scene is brilliant and wonderful," he affirmed, his tone a blend of pride and amusement. For Danson, who entered the picture post-divorce from Steenburgen's first marriage to Malcolm McDowell, this story encapsulates the peculiar perils of blending Hollywood legacies with hearth and home realities. McDowell, the iconic British actor known for his intense roles in films like Oh Lucky Man and Time Bandits, had co-parented Charlie and his sister Lily, born in 1981, through the turbulence of their 1990 split. Steenburgen, born in 1953 in Newport, Arkansas, had risen from theater roots to stardom, her southern charm masking a steely resolve that shone in roles from time after time to parenthood. By the time she met Danson on the set of the 1980s miniseries Lonesome Dove, she was a single mom navigating co-parenting with the elan of a true trailblazer. Their union in 1995 brought stability, but stories like Charlie's remind us that fame's footprints linger in the most unexpected places. Hahn, ever the quick-witted confidant, jumped in with her own tales of cinematic-induced family squirms, turning the podcast into a confessional of parental pandemonium. "My son avoids my movies like the plague," she quipped, her laughter bubbling over the airwaves. As the mother of two, Hahn has mastered the art of preemptive editing, fast-forwarding through the raunchy bits of Step Brothers or Bad Moms whenever her kids wander too close to the screen. "I become this weird censor," she admitted, imagining the horror of her offspring stumbling upon her in a compromising pose. It's a universal rite of passage for actor parents, the delicate dance of shielding innocence while honoring the craft that demands exposure. For Hahn, whose career spans indie darlings like Transparent to Marvel blockbusters, these moments underscore the double-edged sword of visibility, art that moves millions but mortifies the mini-MES at home. Charlie McDowell, now 42 and a force in his own right, has channeled that early awkwardness into a career dissecting the human condition with surgical precision. Born in 1983, he grew up in the shadow of titans, Steenburgen's Oscar glow and McDowell's dystopian edge, but carved his path as a storyteller unafraid of emotional nudity, metaphorical or otherwise. His directorial debut, The One I Love, 2014, a mind-bending exploration of relationships starring Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss, hinted at his affinity for the intimate and the uncanny. It was followed by The Discovery, 2017, a Netflix sci-fi thriller with Jason Segel and Rooney Mara that delved into the perils of afterlife proof, earning praise for its philosophical bite. Windfall, 2022, a taut home invasion drama featuring Jason Segel again alongside Lily Collins, whom Charlie would later marry, showcased his knack for escalating tension in confined spaces. Marriage to Collins in 2021 marked a joyous chapter, blending their worlds in a ceremony that was intimate yet infused with Hollywood whimsy. Earlier this year, the couple welcomed their first child, Tove Jane McDowell, via surrogate, a milestone that softened the edges of Charlie's introspective oeuvre. The summer book, upcoming, adapted from Tove Janssen's beloved novel, promises to infuse his lens with paternal tenderness, exploring intergenerational bonds on a remote Finnish island. Yet, it's these personal vignettes, like the sandwich-fueled showdown, that humanize the McDowell legacy, proving that even in families forged by spotlights, the real drama unfolds off-script. Reflecting on Melvin and Howard, one can't overlook its cultural footprint, a quirky dramedy directed by Jonathan Demme that humanized the eccentric tale of Melvin Dummer, an everyman who claimed a stake in Howard Hughes' fortune. Steenburgen's Linda was no damsel. She was a whirlwind of wit and weariness, her nude scene a fleeting but pivotal beat in a narrative of serendipity and struggle. For Charlie, walking in on that moment wasn't just embarrassing, it was a crash course in his mother's multifaceted identity. Artist, icon, and above all, mom. Danson's retelling on the podcast bridges generations, inviting listeners to laugh at the absurdity while appreciating the artistry. Han's interjections add layers, reminding us that embarrassment is the great equalizer, binding celebrities to the rest of us in shared parental plight.